Hello everyone, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Welcome to another video. Today we are playing a very special game. Is it a game? Not sure. But this game is called, or if you don't know what the game is, or if you ever even heard of Lovecraft, this is a story, this is a game based off the story of Dagon. For those who know the story, it's very good story. Very short, but one of his best. Because I'm actually able to sit down and actually read the whole thing in one sitting. Pretty good for someone with ADHD. No, but all seriousness, looks awesome. I saw like IGP play it, and it looked amazing. And I saw a few other YouTubers, but IGP was like the main one. I saw play this, and I really wanted to play this. And it's basically this might be a longer video than most, but it's worth it at the end of the day. But yeah, it's called Dagon. The game's called Dagon, based off the actual story by H.P. Lovecraft. If you don't know who he is, he wrote a lot of horror stuff. You might know him of Call of Cthulhu and maybe even At the Mountains of Madness, which is my personal favorite story of his, which I surprisingly still haven't finished. But hey, Dagon is still really good though. Still one of his best. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on the story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequence, or inventory management here, and movements is limited to progression, though locations along with the plot. Hear that, guys? We're gonna have a fun time, aren't we? Alright. Okay.
I'm writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others will reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia hidden in order to find secrets. Let's focus on your eyes on the Elder Sign. You can also access and found facts and letters. They will be available in main menu. Okay.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Nah, mate, don't commit suicide, my guy. Not worth it.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Dang. I mean, come on. One story.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Boat.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Degradation. Such a cool word. So, wait, what flag is that? Not sure.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
He was a prisoner. The Huns were essential something immigrating Europe. I'm not gonna read that, but hey, here it is if you guys want to read it. I'm not we're gonna go with the story. I don't need to know who the Huns are.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
We escaped. Let's go, guys. We did a thing.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Oh, by the way, guys, I know horror games is not Trevor's thing, but I love a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, so this is why I'm making it, because I like Lovecraft. I don't know if he does, but I do, so. Trevor, this is my turn. Give me a break, okay? Alright. Fine.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Fascinating. Look at that.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land. But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Unbroken blue.
The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was
Continuous. Sorry. That is a squid. That is also a squid. Actually, that squid has creepy, like, legs.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Why are the tentacles moving, my guy?
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
I'd be horrified too. Like, that's not normal, my guy. Look at what is that? Is that red? Is that glowing? What? Why is it moving? And what is that behind the boat? There's moving in the corner of my eye. You can't tell what it is.
For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Yeah, I'd be chilled too,
The
my guy.
region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Yep, I have no idea what that is, my guy.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Is that a starfish octopus? Dang. I don't know what drugs you've been taking, mate, but this is not right. This is not normal.
There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black
What is
slime.
that?
Yet the very completeness
It's
of the
big.
stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Oh, there's a lot more nauseating here. This is nasty.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
That's a trilobite. That's extinct, my guy. I like how all this horrors around me, and all I can really take from this is the trilobite. That's a fish. Hey, that is kind of weird though. Look at, so the sun is right there, right? But the sky is black with stars. That is pretty eerie.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
We're drunk. This is a mirage. We're dreaming. There's probably a lot of good reasonable explanations.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
You know what? That is a more scientific reason that I would believe. Yes. Yep. I agree with that. That makes sense. The only big question is, that mountain is moving. That is not normal, my guy. My guy. My guy. That's not normal.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Is that an ammonite? It is an ammonite. Hey, let's go. We got some prehistoric creatures up in here. Let's go. I still don't like that, how that's moving.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
I don't think that's dead. Those look alive to me. Fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Oh, the sun is like there. That was kind of weird, trippy for a bit, but eh. C'est la vie, I guess.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
It's quite honestly quite beautiful though, in a way. In a disgusting sort of way, it's kind of honestly quite beautiful.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Yep. I still don't like how those are moving. That is... no. Just no. Oh, yeah. Probably should be on our merry way.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
I love that word, maddening. That's a cool word, maddening. I love this word. I love how Lovecraft used the word madness a lot, maddening. But yeah, that's cool. It's honestly quite beautiful. Look at those reflections, my guy, though. Look at those reflections. I don't know. I'm pretty sure... is that an orthicon? I'm pretty sure that's an orthicon. For those who don't know that it is, look it up. Pretty fascinating. Pretty cool creature. Off on our journey.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
And that right there, I have no idea what that is. That is not a exist. I don't even know anymore. Don't think those are creatures. And we must move forward, I guess. And those... that's a whale. Nice to see something normal, eh? I don't know what those are, but we're just gonna assume those are crabs. That's what any reasonable person would say.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
You know, we're just gonna say worms, because worms can be big. Just your average worms. Move forward, onward, I say. On a conquest to see what we can find.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Hey, is that me, or is that little bit right there glowing? Like, watch right there. Look at that. It's shiny. Look at that. Could just be a glitch, I guess.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
You gotta admit, this is pretty. Really beautiful.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
No, I'm kind of curious. What is on top of that mountain?
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
Dang. That bad, eh?
And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
Alright,
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Crest. Oh, yeah, we need our bag first.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Dang, look at that. I can't look down much further, but hey, just trust me, it looks kind of deep.
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
It is pretty deep.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
Spooky.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
So there is a bottom. There's a bottom, guys.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Spooky. Well, I guess there's only one way to go, and that's down.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
By the way, I thought I should mention this. I'm recording this in the middle of the night, so if you hear me yawn and stuff, I'm pretty tired. I'm making sure to have a little bit more energy. I know my that one video that I recorded in the middle of the night, the sounded like I just straight up died, cause like I was on my breaking point, cause like I sounded so out of it on that video. What was the name of that video? The 3 a.m. video, the Discover My Body. Yeah, I sounded so out of it. So yeah, apologize for that. But this one should have a little bit more energy because my parents know I'm recording this video, so I got permission this time. Let's go.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Is that a monolith?
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
The ascending moon. Looks like a monolith. I think it's a monolith anyway.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
I mean, it's still kind of freaky that there's a piece of stone in the middle of nowhere, but hey, c'est la vie.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
I don't know, nature surprises me sometimes.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Well, I'm sorry, mate. Kind of sounds like a skill issue.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Yep, not surprised. Monoliths just to be like that sometimes. What the heck was that? Dramatic music. Immense. That was just there, I guess.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Maybe they're not creatures, maybe it's just guys that were just like, hey, why don't we just put a big stone right here?
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
And it looks like we're in a hole. I mean, there's not much to examine.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Yeah, it's water. It's kind of like inverting. It's cool.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
What does it say?
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Cthulhu. That's Cthulhu, my guy. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Dagon and Cthulhu, both fish people, I guess.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
Yep, those are pretty unknown. I don't know what those are.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Fascinating, eh? Yeah, I don't know what that is right there. Don't know what that is. What's with the dramatic music? Well, here's that if you ever want to read that. Fascinating. Alright.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Oh, like this one, but we're not under the waves, you see. We're on land.
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
Cthulhu! Yeah, I don't know who that goes. I don't know who the onion is. I don't. That guy looks kind of goofy though. I'll say that. But I don't want to insult the great old ones, unless that's what those are. Not sure what those are. Best not to insult them though.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Not the flabby lips.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
Interesting.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Unless they are that big. Ba-da-da-da-da.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
Yep, that makes sense to me. That checks out. I guess there's some weird
Some
dome.
tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Still with the dramatic music. Fascinating.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist,
I don't know what answer it's called, whatever that is, but hey. Fascinating, nonetheless.
I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
I didn't see it. I wasn't paying attention. There was something there, I guess. The water's rippling, so I wasn't paying attention.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
I'm scared.
Fierce, like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the moon.
Alright, I don't have to push next. Let's get a good look at this guy. Pretty cute, eh? Yeah. Next. Forget I said that. Next.
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
And I get dizzy, and I fall.
I think I went mad then.
Oh, that's an amazing line. I think I went mad then. That's cool.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh, it's all distorted. He's losing his mind, my guy.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
I think I lost it, mate.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Fascinating. Getting dark again.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital,
Dang.
brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Thank the Americans, eh?
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Well, at least we have Jesus. Get it? Because the cross. You get it. You think that's funny.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Yep. That just kind of happens sometimes. Obviously, I'll let you guys read that if you want. Alright, well, I guess we're on our merry way.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Uh-huh. Fascinating. For anyone who wants to know about Dagon, here you go. But I'm good. What do we know? Oh, there you go.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
I don't even know what that word means. Yeah, no. Okay. Oh, there. Ugh. Best to leave. Don't want to stay for too long.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Well, you see that, kids? Don't do drugs. It's just generally not worth it.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Splendid. We drink more booze.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war.
Possibility.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
Uh-oh.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Rest in peace, America. Let the deep ones rise. The
end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Well, no way it's getting in here. Forget that.
It shall not find me.
Well, the door's shut, so. Aww, come on, man.
God, that hand!
Not the hand. Anything but the hand.
The window! The window!
The window. Wait, I want to look at it. Apparently it's too soft. Alright. Yippee! Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed our immersing yourself in the little pool of cosmic horror. We appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out our other games and DLCs. Oh, fascinating. And yeah, that was a pretty good game. I might leave a link in the description if I remember. Go check it out and go support the developers of this game. They're really good. This is surprisingly really good for just basically a book, visual book, I guess, visual audio book. I don't know, interactive book, story. Anyway, that was awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Really means a lot. I know this video wasn't entertaining as most, but I do hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. It really means a lot, but I do want to say it. But thank you all so much for watching. It's been real, but I have to end it off. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and obviously hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when my next videos are out. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye.